Well, it started really good because my exit was perfect. I did exactly what I was supposed to do. And then I was falling over. This is what we anticipated because we had this on manned 1 and manned 2. And it looked like for a second I'm going to tumble 2 more times and then I have it under control. But for some reason, that spin became so violent over all axes, and it was hard to know how to get out of that spin. Because if you're trapped in a pressure suit, normally as a skydiver you can feel the air, so you get a direct feedback from the air. But here you're trapped in this suit, and this suit is pressurized for 3.5 psi, so you do not feel the air. It's like swimming without touching the water. And it's hard because every time when it turns you around, you have to figure out what to do. So I was sticking my arm out, then it became worse. So I was putting my arm out on the other side, then it became less. So I was fighting all the way down to regain control because I wanted to break the speed of sound. And I had it. I don't know after how many seconds I could feel air was building up, and then I had it. It's hard to describe because I didn't feel it. You know, when you're in that pressure suit, you don't feel anything. It's like being in a cast, and it happened somehow down the line, you know. I don't know, we have to look at the data. At what point was I still spinning or was already under control? We have to look at the data, but I didn't feel it at all. Because the thing is, if you want to judge speed, you got reference points that passing by, or you have a sound, or your suit is flapping. I have none of these signs, so you don't know how fast you travel.
What went through your head today in that moment before you jumped?
Well, I thought, please God, don't let me down, but if you're standing in his son's arm, you know, nothing can go wrong at that moment. That was what I was thinking.
What happened when you were went into that spin? I mean, how did that happen, and what happened that was unexpected about that?
It's hard to tell what happened because I have to look at the video footage. The exit, as I said early on, was pretty perfect, and then somehow it starts spinning. Yeah, there's nothing that I can tell you. I have to look at the footage.
Now, was that a flat spin you went into, or a tumble, or?
It felt like a flat spin. I think I spun over all axes, all 3 axes, and for a couple seconds I had that feeling that it was a flat spin, you know, which is that spin that we fear the most, because this is what gives you a readout. Mm-hmm. That means your blood is going into your head, mm-hmm. and you cannot take that for a long period of time.
Now, how did you feel physically at that moment? Did you feel anything in your eyes or your head? Or
Well, I had a lot of pressure in my head, but I didn't feel like I'm passing out. I was still feeling, okay, I think I can handle this situation, and I did.
The spin issue where he goes into a tumble, one of the concerns is that as the tumble occurs and ramps up in speed, it gets more and more difficult for Felix to stop, because as he's putting out an arm to stop it coming one direction, that same arm out to slow you down, as you spin around to the opposite side, it's actually increasing your speed. So for Felix to try and control that becomes an incredible challenge. We're just glad that he was able to get it under control, because at some point you could see a beautiful step off, very controlled. As he was reaching Mach, you could see that his positioning was really good. And then he went into a tumble, which again, you know, it's a very small dot, so we have to analyze the accelerometer, XYZ accelerometer, to see what it's telling us, what was happening, how many times he spun, and all that data will be analyzed. But the big thing is that as he regained control of that, you could see his flight path was completely controlled. He was in free fall. He was in a delta position, tracking very well. And that's really part of what this program was to achieve, was to show high altitude egress, passing through Mach, and a successful reentry back. Because our belief is that scientifically, that's going to benefit future private space programs or high altitude pilots. And Felix proved that today. He did an outstanding job as a test pilot.
Certainly when you see the spin, you would anticipate, wow, that would be very disorienting, or even potentially cause you to be motion sick. And Felix, you know, he just did, like a champ, he went right through it, and he waited. He knew he was going to come out of it. He knew he was going to gain control, and he did. And to me, it shows the fortitude and the dedication and the focus that he has, because this was not an easy task.
Records are meant to be broken, and better champions cannot be found than Felix Baumgartner. He's a great champion, a great athlete, and he did a fantastic job today. And I'd like to give a special one-finger salute to all the folks that said he was going to come apart when he went supersonic. Hoorah!